Nothing that stands out to you.
Nothing, yes.
And then did you try to call your sister?
Yes,
On her cell phone?
correct, yes.
And you got no response?
Yeah, it just goes straight to voicemail.
Was that common at all in the past when you call your sister that it would go straight to voicemail?
No, not at all.
What did you do on January the 9th?
So once I found out that my dad didn't see her at all, or we haven't had any contact with her, I told my husband we had to go to San Diego. So we waited until we had a dinner first in the afternoon. Dinner time, and then we left. We went to their house Saturday.
What time did you get there?
Maybe about 7 or 8 at night. Yes,
That Saturday, January 9th.
correct.
In the evening.
In the evening, yes.
Who were you? Was it just you and Richard, your husband?
Correct.
What happened when you got there?
So Larry was there, the kids were there, the house is a little bit, it was a mess. There's boxes everywhere. I was concerned about that, but it's the first time I saw the house in a mess, because they're always kind of like neat and tidy. But
You said that's the first time you saw the house.
it was a mess.
So that was an unusual thing to see it in a state where it was messy.
Right.
Go on.
So Larry was telling me that probably, your sister just went for a hike this morning, and she left this morning, and he said she should be back home soon. She's probably be at the park right now, but she'll be back soon.
This is around what time?
Maybe about, when we get there, about 7 or 8, or maybe about 9 o'clock.
Was it dark out?
It was already dark, yes.
And it was at that time that he said, well, she may have just gone out for a hike?
He said that she probably have left this morning, but he didn't see her leaving the house. So he was telling me that during that time, she's probably at the park right now, just kind of like trying to maybe get up some steam, because they did had an argument the night before, or they had an argument Thursday night.
Now, did he tell you what the argument was about?
Not really, but I did ask him if it's about work-related stuff that
Work?
Right, he wants her to. He wants actually her to about the work relationship she have with somebody.
Had he during the course of 2020, had he revealed to you that he believed that your sister was having an affair?
Yes.
When did he do that?
I don't remember exactly when.
And is that something, did he mention that more than once to you?
Correct, yes. During 2020, he was calling most of the siblings, and he would just ask help. My sister is out again, or sometimes he would ask us to talk to her if she's not talking to him. And I wasn't really paying attention that much of the conversation that he had, because I thought my sister, I thought it wasn't true. I wasn't believing that she is having an affair.
January 9th, when you spoke to him in the evening, did he say anything else to you about where
She's probably at the park. Mention exactly where.
did he explain that she was at a park usually in the evenings?
No, that was actually feels like it was the first time he was telling me that she's at the park.
Did you question that at all, or did he expand on that at all?
No.
What did you do next?
After a couple hours, and then I was just on the phone asking her friends where she could be. Then I called the police. I'm not sure about exactly what time. Asking, I wanted to report a missing person.
Did you have the opportunity to meet May's friends over the years?
Yes.
Did she have a set of close friends?
Yes.
Who were some of her closest friends?
I know Kristen and Ali and Courtney.
Did you make contact with those people to see if they had any idea where she was?
I don't recall, but in that chaos, I kind of knew that they were telling me. I believe it's through Genesis at that time. That May usually is not this way. Something is wrong. So they kept on telling me something is wrong. You have to call the police.
So Genesis was providing you information through, or May's friends were providing information through Genesis?
Correct, yes.
And you had said that over a couple of hours you were calling some of May's friends. Were there other friends that you were calling?
No.
Or who were you calling during that time?
We were on like the messenger.
Who, we being who?
I think it would be like the siblings and just the group messenger.
And were you communicating with her friends, or when you said calling her friends, did you mean doing that through someone else?
I don't recall calling them directly, but I think the communication was like, with the Genesis, giving us more information. I mean, through Genesis with her friends.
And Genesis is again JR's wife?
Correct, yes.
Do you know why Genesis had any kind of more direct communication with these friends?
Genesis worked with my sister Maya, so they're almost in the same company.
So Genesis was aware of had a relationship or knew who these friends were as well?
Correct, yes.
What was Larry doing during that time?
So what day, counsel?
The evening of January 9th, from the time that you got there until the time that you called the police, what was Larry doing?
He was walking around the house. He's upstairs, mainly doing something up there, and we're primarily downstairs. I don't really know exactly what he was doing, and me and the kids were around too, so I'm assuming he was taking care of the kids.
Did you ever have a conversation with the kids?
A little bit here and there, but I don't recall exactly my conversation with them.
Anything about your conversation with them that allowed you to kind of know where your sister was? Correct. Was there anything that the children provided you in terms of information that led you to take any action? In other words, start looking somewhere. Was there anything helpful that they were able to provide to you in terms of finding your sister?
Not that I recall.
Did you have a conversation with Larry about whether or not to call the police?
Yes, he did said to wait a little bit. She'll be back home.
What time was that?
Well, when I start calling the police, I said, I don't care. That would be like maybe about 9, 10 o'clock. I said, I don't care. I'm calling the police now. But he did said, wait till later, wait till like about 2 o'clock or so. So before calling the police, but he was telling me she'll be back home soon.
Why did he say to wait until 2 o'clock?
I don't know.
Did you call the emergency 911 or who did you call?
I called the Chula Vista Police Department number.
And did you speak to someone?
Yes, I did.
What happened next?
I spoke to a lady dispatcher first, and then they told me to call the hospitals or the morgue, any safe houses, or maybe some churches or something like that. And then they said you have to do that first, which we did. Me and my husband Richard start calling the hospitals and some of the morgue, the hospitals around their house.
Did you find your sister?
No.
What was Larry doing?
I don't recall exactly, but he was upstairs with the kids,
Where were you making these phone calls?
downstairs by the living family room.
What was Larry's demeanor like during that time frame, from the time that you got there until the time you called the police?
He wasn't worried. Like he seems like, it's like normal. Like he doesn't seem that has that panic in him that Maya's missing.
Had you had any communication with him throughout 2020 when he couldn't find your sister or where he was looking for your sister?
No.
Did he help call the hospitals?
No.
Did Larry help call the morgues?
No.
Did he, when you finally decided to call the police, did he say, yes, that's a good idea, let's call the police?
No.
What was he saying at that time?
He was telling me to wait.
Did he say why he wanted to wait?
It has something to do with like you gotta wait 24 hours or something like that. I just didn't get it at the time when he was saying it.
Something about waiting 24 hours?
Right.
While you were at the house, I mean, from the time that you got there until the time you called the police, did you walk around the house? Did you go looking throughout the house for anything?
Yes, I did kind of walk, not outside though, but just inside, because at that point I was still, like in denial that something is wrong with something is wrong. I was still hoping she's actually at the park, but I did walk around the house, went to the rooms, downstairs room, and I did went to the master's bedroom too, and and went to the closet and the bathroom.
Why did you go to those locations?
I wanted to find out if my sister might be there, or I was, at that time, maybe she's just hiding from us. So I didn't thought of anything worse.
So you actually were looking for your sister
Yes.
and didn't find her.
No.
Did you, when you looked in the closet, did you see any obvious sign of a packed bag or clothing missing or items of value missing?
Not that I recall. She has a lot of stuff. So I don't really know like all her belongings. So I don't really know if there's anything missing in the closet or in the bedroom.
Anything obvious that looked look to you? In other words, huge gaps of clothing in the closet or anything like that that looked obvious as if something she had packed up suddenly and left?
Not that I recall.
Showing you what's been identified as 226. Do you recognize what's shown in this photograph?
Yes,
And what is that?
that's their master bedroom.
And just kind of showing you, zooming in a bit more on the shelf there. Do you recognize what's on the shelf next to the closet?
Yes, that's her purses and the one in the, yeah.
What's the brand name of majority of those purses?
She has the Louis Vuitton.
May I approach her?
To show her an exhibit?
Yes.
Yes.
Was there anything out of the ordinary about the bedroom?
Well, when we were on the night, it wasn't this, tidy. So it was a little bit more a mess at that time. So I don't know if there's anything missing or anything like that.
Do you recognize, well, do you know what purse she normally would use?
She has the one on the top left. That's her usual go-to, and then also the one in the middle.
Can you describe
The-
which shelf?
The third shelf from the bottom, and it's on the middle one. So that's usually her purse too.
Do you have a laser pointer? So
Oh, yes. It's up here.
highlight it.
May I approach?
Oh, it's
Yes,
this.
ma'am.
Yes, yes.
How do you? I'm sorry, I don't know how to. Oh, is that like the light? Oh, there you go. I got it. So it's that one. That's her usually her purse too, and then
Camera.
yeah.
For the record.
I was just going to actually
Oh, there you go.
pen and have her circle it on the actual exhibit.
Your Honor, excuse me, it comes so far away from the microphone, sometimes we can't hear you all completely.
You can't hear Ms.
Yeah,
Bowles.
which is, talking sometimes it does,
Okay.
especially if
Ms. Bowles,
she
speak
stays.
up. Mr. Millete is using an own assistance device, so we'll make sure that he can hear him.
So she usually wears this one too. She started wearing that, and then also her this one here, her Speedy. So that's what usually she wears.
So looking at the photograph, it looks to be the third shelf. There's
From the bottom.
from the bottom, there's a purse in the middle with a gold buckle, and you pointed to that first, and then pointed to the purse to the right of that as the second other purse that she would use.
That's the one I usually see her wearing when they come over, or when I see her.
Which one?
Those two. Usually it's the Speedy one or the blue one right here. So
When you
those two.
said this, you pointed to the purse on the left, and then you referred to the purse, I'm sorry. First, you referred to the purse on the right, and then you referred to the purse on the left.
Correct. So sometimes I see her mostly this one here, but then she start wearing this one too. So those two. Sorry.
When you said this one.
Oh.
What's the color? Would you describe that as a black purse?
It's brown.
Okay.
They're both almost the same color.
But one of them has the buckle
Right.
facing us.
Yes.
And the one without the buckle facing us, you would say was her primary purse?
Yes,
And then the one buckle that I can see was like the second favorite.
correct. Just when I see her with us, so I'm not 100% sure if she go out with her friends or anything like that, if she wears other purses too.
But those two purses really seem to be ones that you.
Correct, yes.
I just have to make sure that if someone's reading the transcript of this, they know what we're talking about. So I want
Sorry.
to make a good record.
Thank you, Your Honor. The one on the right that you referred to as being one that you saw her with a lot when you were with her, you used a term, I think, when you described it.
Speedy?
Speedy?
Yes.
Are you saying speedy, Speedy?
Correct, yes.
And what type of bag is that?
That's the name of the style of the purse.
Does that carry a little bit more items in it? Is that a bigger bag than the bag with the buckle facing us?
Correct, yes.
And when you were there on the 9th, was the bed made? Like it is in the photograph? Or how was the bed different looking, if at all, on January 9th when you were there?
Let's calm down.
On January 9th, when you were at the house, when you observed the main bedroom, did the bed look different than it does in the photograph in 2-26?
Yes, so there's just a fitted sheet. It's on the bed, and there's no pillows on it. So just a fitted sheet.
When you arrived at the house and Mr. Millete was there with the children, aside from him and the children, was there anyone else at the house?
No, just the three kids and Larry.
When you got there, did you see, strike that. After you called the police, you said that you spoke with a female dispatcher. She told you to call the hospitals first. What did you do after that?
Well, after we found out we couldn't find her, I called the dispatcher. I called the CBPD again, and then told them that to report the missing person, and that we already called different hospitals, and the morgues, and then some safe houses. That I wanted to report a missing person.
What happened next?
We waited. We just waited for for them to come to the house.
About how, do you recall about what time they arrived at the house?
About 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't exactly know what time.
Did you speak with the officers once they got there?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what happened when the police officers got there.
So there's 3 officers that came. I believe 1 female and 2 male officers. Then I told them my concern. My sisters, we haven't had any communication with her, and it seems like we're worried that she's missing. Well, we couldn't find her. I did kind of whisper that something's wrong, might have happened to her. It might be. I don't recall if I did tell her if I suspect, Larry to have something to do with my sister. I don't recall, but I don't know.
How long were the police at the house?
It felt like they were just there for maybe about 30 minutes to an hour. It felt like they were there quick.
What happened after they left?
Then we waited. Me and my husband Richard stayed downstairs, slept downstairs, and Larry was upstairs with kids. We could hear him just walking upstairs and doing something upstairs.
Did you have a conversation with Larry after the police left?
I don't recall.
What was Larry's demeanor like after the police left?
He wasn't like it was normal. He wasn't concerned about it. That my sister haven't came home yet and it's already late. But I kind of remember having him telling me, I just don't know exactly when he told me, but he said that now you know your sister is doing this. She stays at the park. But yeah. But he was not panicking or anything like that. He doesn't seem worried about it.
Did you find his reaction unusual at all?
I do, because it feels like he's not concerned at all that she haven't gone home.
Did you have any other further conversation about where she might be? Were you asking him questions, or was it, what was the
He was just
communication like between the two of you at that point?
He was just saying, she'll come home, she'll be home. But all he could tell me is, she's probably at the park.
Did you find that unusual that he would say she was at the park?
I do, but at that time, I didn't really know what to think. I was just hoping she'll come home.
Where did you sleep in the house?
In the family room.
Is that where is that room in relation to where the kitchen is?
It's by the kitchen.
I'm sorry, which room did you sleep in?
By the family room?
So not in a bedroom, but just out in the family room,
Yes,
like on the couch or something?
correct. Yeah, we slept on the couch.
Showing you 2-16 up on the screen. Do you see the room that you slept in that photograph?
Yes.
Can you describe it for us?
Use the pointer.
Well, so there was a couch right here before. So it looks like this one was moved in the side. So there's a couch right here before. So that's where we slept.
So you're kind of pointing to an area that's sort of parallel to where the staircase comes down from upstairs, almost parallel to if you were to continue walking towards the back. You're saying there was a couch kind of along that
Correct.
that section of that room off of the kitchen.
Correct. So it used to be like a couch. There's a couch right here before. So that's where we slept, and right in front of the TV.
So would you says right here, she's referring to that area we just described, parallel to the stairs. There is a couch there. That's not the couch that was facing the TV.
Doesn't look like it. It was more like darker. Yeah.
And I was asking you about the tan couch that is visible in 2-16, but that's not the one.
No, it's not there. It's gone.
And just looking at 217, do you see that
Mm.
same area kind of that we're looking at? It's like there's kind of a tan chair just at the foot of the staircase into that TV room.
Right.
Do you recall seeing that chair in that room?
Yeah.
And so I'll correct myself. It's
Yes.
a tan chair that I was talking about, not a tan couch.
So that's part of the couch before. So I believe there's one right there and there's another one next to it. So that's where we slept.
Another one. What do you mean by that?
A couch, another couch. That was next to it was so that couch even I'm not sure if that's always been there, but there's another couch next to it. That's where we usually where we slept. Like it's like almost like watching the TV. So like that way.
If you were in the couch, you'd be facing the television.
Correct.
And you don't see that couch in this photograph.
No.
But that's where you slept the night of January the 9th.
Correct.
What happened on January 10th?
January 10th, it was Lara's birthday. So I told my siblings on the messenger, come here, just come here, everybody come here, something's wrong. So my siblings came to the house. We tried to celebrate Lara's birthday at that time, but we started to go to the neighborhood looking for my sister, going house to house, seeing if they have any footage of her, or any footage at all, if they could see it in their camera. So that's what we did.
Did Larry assist with that search around the neighborhood?
No, he was in the house.
Where were the kids?
Genesis took them to church that morning, and then after that they went to the park at the ending in the afternoon. Then we had a little a birthday cake for her, and we just kind of celebrate a little bit of her birthday.
What was Laura's demeanor like at that time?
Can you rephrase? We're talking about kind of a long period of time, so maybe be a little bit more specific.
Thank you, Your Honor. From the time that you saw Laura when you got there on the 9th until the 10th, can you describe what was Laura's demeanor, or if it changed during that period of time?
I didn't really notice that much. They were very playful. They were with their cousins, so they were playing, and so it varies. And she was sad a little bit. I saw her again because we did had a video of her at that time when we celebrated her birthday. Her blowing the candle for her birthday cake, but she was a little bit sad.
Did you stay the night again on January 10th?
We went home.
During the course of 2020, had you had any conversations with your sister May about future plans that she had beyond January 7th, 2021?
Aside from the Big Bear planned, we were thinking of, well, I booked a trip to Hawaii and they were going to come with us, I believe in end of March.
When you say they, who do you mean?
Her kids, and I'm not sure if Larry was going to come, but she was planning on coming with us to Hawaii.
Any other plans that you had spoken to her about for 2021?
She wanted to go back to Italy to visit her friend Suzanne, so she wanted to do that. But other than those, big plans, I don't recall anything else.
Her birthday that would have been in May of 2021, was that a significant birthday?
She was turning 40, so she was planning she was planning on going to the Grand Canyon to celebrate her birthday.
In the days that you had seen May during that trip to Glamis, did she at all seem different to you in terms of her demeanor, such that she seemed depressed? Did she ever speak about, well, let's start there. Did she seem depressed?
She's she's sad. But if she had an argument with Larry. But on the weekend, the New Year's weekend, she was more open. She was actually more open to us with the conversation that she is ready to go through divorce.
Did she ever speak about suicide?
No.
How important were May's friends to her? Did she have close friendships?
Yes.
Would you say, well, let's strike that. After the police got involved and after you left the house, how did you continue to communicate with Larry?
I believe so.
And was that, how did that communication go? I mean, was it
Just
friendly? Was it
Just-
cordial?
Yeah, just normal, like how we've always been, talking to each other on the phone.
Did that change at any point?
Not really.
So you continued to talk to Larry throughout 2021?
No. The first week we were talking on the phone, when we started searching for my sister, he told me to take care of that, and he's going to take care of the kids. So that was technically his job, to take care of the kids, and I'll take care of looking for my sister.
And did you or your siblings still try to facilitate events or opportunities for the cousins to spend time together?
Yes, so every day after my sister was missing, we were actually at the house almost every day. Well, I would say every day. I just don't know when it got stopped.
At some point, did it stop that you were having communication with Larry?
Right, because he was mad at us because we were in the news, and my husband started almost pointing fingers at Larry. So he was mad at that.
And so communication stopped after that period of time when there was discussion in the media by your husband?
Right. And also Larry was able to get into my sister's Facebook account. So then he saw all our messages into the group text messages, and he was getting mad at that. And then he also started to delete us.
Slow down. Trying to take notes.
Sorry.
You said Larry had gotten into the Facebook.
Yeah, so he got into my sister's Facebook account, and so he saw all our messages or text messages into the on the group messenger, and he was started to get mad at us, and he was actually replying to the messages that we were just having that sibling conversations, and then he started to unfriend some of the family members from my sister's Facebook account.
When he was communicating on the Facebook Messenger thread, was he doing it then under your sister's profile name?
Correct.
Did he identify himself that it was him talking?
I don't recall, but the way the messages were, it was from the message. The messages are from him.
So the context of the messages was such that you could identify that it was Larry who was sending the messages to you?
Correct.
How so? I mean, was there reference to May?
He was getting mad at the context in the messages, because we have all the conversations that we're saying, like how probably it's Larry that's maybe responsible for my sister.
Now, you mentioned media and the search efforts. What did you do in terms of trying to mobilize search groups to help find your sister?
I was desperate, so we have the media. We were out with the media asking the public to help us find my sister. We have volunteers that came in and help us do the search and put together a search effort to find her.
And so did you begin actually going out with groups looking?
Correct, yes.
When? How quickly after?
We had a search effort 3 days after, I believe it was Wednesday. The 13th was our first search effort
Where did you search?
at Mount San Miguel Park
Where is
'Cause-
that?
in Chula Vista,
Where is that in relation to your sister's house?
close to their house, couple blocks from their house.
Why did you search there?
Because we thought Larry said she went hiking. So in Mount Miguel Park, there's a trail that she likes going to hike.
Is that something your sister liked to do? Go ahead.
Correct, yes.
And how many searches after that would you say you were part of?
Throughout 2021, 2022. The 2020, we were doing it almost every weekend, sometimes Saturday and Sunday. And then sometimes we do it also during the week. So it was a lot of search efforts.
You said 2020, throughout 2020.
2021.
So almost every weekend until, would you say throughout 2021?
2021, 2022.
Throughout 2022 also.
We did probably our last search was October of 2022. And then there's still some people that's going searching too. So
Did you go on television shows locally to try to get awareness out about your sister's
Yes.
disappearance?
I was pleading for help. I was asking everybody to look out there for my sister. I wanted to bring her home.
Did you go on some national news shows doing the same?
We did, yes.
What were some of those shows?
We have Court TV. We have Good Morning America. We have Dr. Phil, Fox News, I believe, Friends, and ABC, 48 Hours were also featured in my sister's story.
Did you create a website to try to mobilize volunteers and information with regard to your sister?
It was a group effort for the website. I'm not techie, so it was actually my sister Jane and her husband did the website, and her friend Ellie did the Facebook page. First day she went missing.
And what was there a name for those pages, if you recall?
Right. So for the Facebook page, we have Help Find Maya, and also we do have a website, helpfindmaya.com, and also there's iammaya.org that was created by another friend.
Did you or other volunteers involved with these search efforts obtain car magnets?
Correct. Yes, we did.
What were the car magnets?
It was a missing flyer that we have. My brothers actually, did that. My brothers, Mike and JP, we were giving it. We were using them.
What exactly were the car magnets? Explain what those are.
It has the missing Maya and her pictures, and also information on who to call.
Did you post flyers?
Everywhere that we know, yeah.
Where did you post flyers?
All over San Diego area. We went to the desert also, to the Glamis area. We asked volunteers to post it for us. I was giving out flyers everywhere, not just I, but the whole team and all volunteers that came and helped us.
I'm showing you 25-1. May I approach the witness, Your Honor, to show her 25-1 and the exhibit behind it?
Yes.
Do you recognize 25-1 in the binder to be the same photo exhibit that's projected on the screen?
Yes, that's the first flyer that we printed, possibly January 11th, the January 11th. That was the first flyer that we printed.
Did you post flyers in Hawaii?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
As I mentioned earlier, we did had that plan to go to Hawaii. So, we took that vacation. So we did had a flyer, and we also put what we call a honk for support. So we have banners, banners, and we did a prayer for her at one of the park right there too, and we have a banner. And I also did a news report there too. So I was in their local news.
You were in the local news in Hawaii at that time?
Correct, yes.
And looking at 25-6 in front of you, if you wouldn't mind turning to that, letting us know if that's the same two flyers that we see projected up on the screen. It does, exhibit 25-6.
Yes.
And one of them says drive, honk, yell, wave, Saturday, April 3rd. What is that flyer for?
That's the one with the, it's an awareness that we wanted to do in Hawaii too. She's, we're from Hawaii, so her friends from Hawaii help us out to do that. Just kind of like have an awareness that in any case she might be in Hawaii, we want to bring that, she's still missing.
And then the flyer on the right that says missing Nene Tabalanza, Millete team help find Maya in Hawaii. What is that flyer?
So we, that's what we did also the following day. We did a prayer at the Ala Moana Park. We have a banner there too, and just friends and family and whoever came and support us for a prayer for her.
And what was the purpose of these two events in Hawaii?
Just to bring awareness that she's missing, and she's, we're putting a word out there just to make sure, if just in case she might be out there, just keep an eye.
And then looking at 25-9, this is a screenshot. Again, is this the same 25-9 that's in the binder in front of you?
Yes.
What are we, this is a screenshot, what are we looking at in this exhibit?
It was, we have an interview with Dr. Phil.
And did he do a segment on his show?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And the Dr. Phil show, is that a national show?
Correct, yes.
And then to the kind of, as we look at the screen, it says vanished, where's Maya? There appear to be several pictures of her sister. To the right, there's a kind of a television screen. Who's on that screen?
It's me and my husband, Richard.
What are you wearing?
The t-shirt, the Missing Maya t-shirt that we have printed and distributed.
(25-10), is that also the same exhibit that is in front of you and needs a reminder projected up on the screen?
Yes.
Is that the same?
Yes.
Just want to make sure. What is it that we're looking at in this exhibit?
That's a picture that we put up for our website, findmaya.com.
(25-13). Exhibit 25-13, what are we looking at in this photograph or in this exhibit?
That's me putting flyers on the sidewalk, San Diego.
And this is dated August 6th. Is this a photograph on the Help Find Maya Facebook page?
Yes.
And what kind of information would be posted on the Help Find Maya Facebook page?
Different activities that it's going on, what we're doing for her, our search efforts, and again, asking for volunteers to come and help us search for my sister.
(25-15), is that also the same exhibit that is projected up on the screen?
Yes.
And do you see your sister's picture on the cover of this photograph of People magazine?
Yes,
And where is she?
it's just the one with the red squared box.
And that red squared box was not on the actual cover, correct? I mean, in other words, the People magazine cover did not have a red box around your sister's picture.
No, not that I know.
And were you familiar, or did you have the opportunity to see that your sister was on the cover of People magazine?
I saw that, yes.
And just after all of these search efforts and appearances, have you been able to find your sister?
No.
When was the last time you heard from your sister? Or last time you saw her in person?
January 3.
And have you had any contact, communication from your sister since that time?
No.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Jan. Your Honor, I think she's just trying to compose herself. She was crying a little bit.
You can wait a moment. Would you like some water? We have cups for you.
That's okay. Thank you.
Here's a cup here.
I'm good. Thank you.
You may not need the exhibit. Let's move that.
Oh, thank you so much.
And would you like to take a break before we begin?
I'm good. That's
You
good.
good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Should I proceed, Your Honor? Or?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do you mind if I just call you Mary Chris?
No, I don't.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mary Chris. You testified about when
No, actually, why don't you refer to her by her last name?
Is that too loud, John? Is it too loud?
No, I just said refer to her by her last name.
Oh, okay. How do you pronounce your last name?
Drulay.
Drulay? Okay, thank you. Ms. Drulay, good afternoon. You testified about your life in Hawaii and your your siblings and your parents and your work. Was there any time while you were residing in Hawaii that your sister May resided with Larry's family?
I know she was going over to their house, but I don't know exactly if she resided there. She was still going to school. So I remember just going there after school or something.
Was your sister working at McDonald's at that time?
Yes,
What year was that?
I don't recall.
And so with you working full-time, you said your father, and I believe you said your brother was also working part-time.
Yes,
So your sister May was also working about the same time?
yeah,
All right. And isn't it true that Larry Millete and May Millete were working at the same McDonald's restaurant at that time?
they did at one time. I just don't know exactly when. When is it?
Do you have an idea of how long they were working at McDonald's?
No, I know they met at McDonald's. I just don't know how long they worked together.
Okay. And they did get married in Hawaii, correct?
Correct.
after the wedding, where did they reside?
At Larry's I believe where they're residing. At
You don't know?
Larry's house or wherever they were residing. I never went to that, to their place in Hawaii.
Is it your testimony then that after the wedding you didn't see your sister anymore?
No,
At the time you were in Hawaii, residing there, and then Larry and May got married. You don't know where they resided.
I don't know their place. No, I've never been to their place.
Is it fair to say you didn't visit them at that time after the wedding?
Yes,
While your sister was attending school in Hawaii, you said, I believe, that she was residing with you?
what school? What high school? Grade school or college?
College.
I believe when Larry left for his training, then she came back to us to where we were living at that time.
Do you recall what year was that?
No,
How long after Larry left did your sister reside with you?
I don't really remember exactly how long.
Do you remember when your sister left to join Larry and Virginia?
I remember her leaving because I dropped her off at the airport. I just don't recall when and what year. I don't recall.
Do you remember where in Virginia was your sister going to live after you took her to the airport?
No,
You don't know.
no, I don't.
After your sister arrived in Virginia, did you have communications with her?
Yes,
Okay, tell me about that. How often?
I don't recall how often we were talking. I mean, she was in Virginia. I don't know, maybe once a week or so. I'm just gonna be guessing.
Did you have an understanding after your sister left for Virginia about her relationship with her husband?
But they have a good relationship at that time, yes.
So May told you that the relationship between May and Larry was good?
She didn't tell me, no.
Did she describe it to
No,
you? Were you concerned about her at all at that time when she was residing in Virginia?
no.
So at that time, when you remained in Hawaii and they're here in Virginia, there was no group telephone.
I don't think there's Facebook at that time. I don't remember having a Facebook.
Okay. So there was no communication between siblings and no phone calls,
No,
no letter writings.
no. Well, there's telephone, but I don't know. There's no messenger or anything like that. There's no text messages or anything like that.
Okay. So who amongst your siblings was the very first one who left Hawaii?
My brother JP,
When JP left Hawaii, where did he go?
my California here in Vena Park.
Did JP reside with Larry and Maya
No,
when he arrived in California?
not that I know of.
Anyone from your siblings, when they arrived in California, did they reside with Larry and Maya?
Not that I know of.
Did Genesis and JR reside with Larry and Maya at any time when they are living here in California?
Yes, they did.
Tell us when that is.
I believe it's 2019, but JR and Genesis was from LA. And when Genesis got a job here in San Diego, then that's when they moved to San Diego and resided with Larry and Maya. I just don't know how long.
So they resided here while Larry and May was already residing in Paseo Elgado,
Correct,
Los
yes.
Gatos. Okay.
Correct.
And they already have the 3 children at that time?
Yes.
Were you in communication with Genesis and your brother when
We
they
have-
were?
We have the group chat. So
Okay.
that's our main communication.
So that would be 2019, right?
Correct.
So your brother and his wife residing with Larry and Maya, and who else was residing in that house at that time?
With Genesis and my brother JR's kids, Micah and James.
Okay, so
And also, I believe Larry's parents were there too.
so there would be how many people in that house, if you recall?
But then there's 2, 4, including the kids or just the adults?
Including the children.
2, 12, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 12.
Okay, so 12 in that household.
Correct.
Did you visit them at that time?
No. Well, I shouldn't. I don't recall. I don't know if I did or not.
Was there ever an occasion during that time wherein your brother and his wife called you in 2019 to report any problems with Larry and May?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well, you mentioned about marital problems that you had observed Larry and May were experiencing. So when did that start?
I don't know when that started. It just got more obvious in 2020.
When you say obvious, what do you mean by that?
You could tell they were fighting. They would have some arguments, and my sister would just get mad, or Larry probably just get mad too. Yeah, just a little bit. That they have it. You could actually tell that they're having an argument.
Well, my understanding was based on what you stated earlier that you really didn't go to their house in 2020 because of maybe COVID or
Well, there was no reason for us to be going there because most of the if we do get together, it's been through camping, or they rather come to my house, or they go to my sister's house in Cerritos or in Lakewood. So if we do have birthday celebrations, a lot of times we celebrated in either of those 3 houses.
but not in Paseo Los Gatos.
No, only when we do have, maybe like if we do celebrate the kid's birthday, then we go to their house.
So you would really be able to assess mess was in 2020.
Not in 2020. Yeah.
You mentioned about Larry's parents residing with them. Do you know when they started residing with Larry and May?
No, I don't.
Do you have an idea how long they've been there?
Maybe more than 5 years.
would it be fair to say that Larry's mother moved in with them when Lara was born?
No. When Lara was born, they were in Murrieta. They were living in Murrieta,
All right. And what year was Lara born?
2010.
And were you living in California at that time?
Yes.
And you visited Larry and May at their home in Murrieta?
Yes. We used to live there for a few months.
Oh, you lived with Larry and May in Murrieta for a few months?
Yes.
So what year did you live there?
October 2005 to, I believe, February or March of 2006.
For about 6 months you stayed with them?
Yeah.
And they didn't have any children then, right?
No.
And the relationship was great.
At that time, they have arguments, but it's just usual, arguments.
Serious arguments? Serious arguments or just ordinarily, getting irritated at each other?
In a way, we felt that we were not welcome at the house. Staying at the house. I have 2 kids then. I have a 2-year-old and a 10 months old, and my 10 month is pulling everything out from the kitchen cabinet. And it seemed like at that time Larry didn't like that. So it felt like we were not welcome there. The house was, it was cold when it was winter. The windows are opened. And I know they had an argument because my sister, that's the reason why we left too. And I got a house because we needed to move out. It felt like Larry didn't want us there.
Is that your feeling, or did Larry or Maya tell you he didn't want you to be residing with them?
Not exactly, but yeah. They have an argument regarding that. It felt like they would be in the master bedroom and she would be crying. And then at one point, she told him that she would still pick her family over him.
At that time, if I'm not mistaken, you stated that you and your 2 kids were residing there. Were you married to Richard already at that time?
No.
Okay. And so it was only the 3 of you that resided with them?
My mom and my dad too.
Oh, okay. So did you move in with your mom and dad at the same time with Larry and me?
Right. So we moved from Hawaii with my 2 kids and my mom and my dad.
All right. And when you moved out from their house and purchased your own house, did your parents move in with you?
Correct, yes.
And where did you move?
Lake Elsinore.
When you left Larry and May's residence, did you have resentment against Larry at that time?
No. He's a family. I felt like that's his right. That's his house. So respect that. Why I was thankful too, because I was able to purchase my own house.
Did you pay rent to Larry and May while you were residing there with your parents?
I paid for the utilities.
And how about the groceries?
Well, we buy groceries too.
You didn't pay rent.
No.
You didn't pay utilities, correct?
I was paying the utilities.
Was Larry resentful because you didn't pay rent?
Not that I know of.
Did your parents pay rent?
There-
Sustain.
Uh, so after you moved to Elsinore, did you have a good relationship with Larry?
Yeah.
Can you describe that relationship?
That's a family. His brother-in-law, so they they still come over. They play with my kids. I mean, there's there's nothing hard feeling about us moving out.
In fact, the time that you stayed with them, you personally observed Larry and May as husband and wife, correct?
Yes.
That's 2019. Can you describe the relationship at that time?
Well, they didn't have kids yet. I mean, they go work, come home, and it was regular, I guess, like relationship. But after a while, I think they were just kind of like arguing too. So they usually when they do argue, they don't show it to us.
So you wouldn't know.
I would be able to tell because I could hear screaming from the bedroom. You could actually tell because they're arguing in the bedroom, closed door though.
Besides occasional arguing with each other, did you see them caring for each other?
No,
So Larry was not loving to May at that time?
on and I mean it's regular, I guess, on and off.
Did May cook for the family? at
Once
that
in a
time?
while, she's not the best cook, so yeah, we usually just do a takeout orders or. My mom and my dad actually was the one that cooking when we were living with them.
And your mom was still healthy at that time,
Well, yes.
right? And then I just wanted to call clarification. When you stated that Larry was not caring towards Maya, can you explain that?
Can you go back to like your question? I misheard her.
Let me
And-
read.
and
The
the-
question?
The caring part, I didn't hear her exactly saying caring. I thought it was almost like killing. So,
Karen,
but
why don't you repeat the question?
Earlier, I asked if Larry was caring towards Maya. Did he take care of Maya?
in a way, yeah, and like a husband would do.
Can you describe that?
Objection vague as to time.
I think we're talking about
We had
2005 to 2006. Are you asking about the period in which she was
That-
living with them?
Your Honor, we're still in that time frame when they were residing there for her to have this direct observation because she testified
Okay,
after
but that's, yes, during the period where you were staying with them.
It's he doesn't like do like foot massages or anything like that, but just regular, just they do their own thing, go to work, and you know, take care of the house. He's very neat, so he usually does a lot of cleaning. So, but to the point where he had to serve her food or anything like that, but nothing like that. Just a regular husband and wife relationship.
at the same time. Was your sister May working?
Yes,
Where was she working?
I I believe she was working at Balboa Hospital at that time.
That would be 2005, 2006.
Correct, yes.
How about Larry? Where was he working at that time?
I believe Balboa also, Balboa Hospital.
So both of them worked at the same location?
Right. But she was also working one of the law office too. I just don't recall exactly when she was working at the Balboa Hospital. So I wouldn't know. I wouldn't remember. I don't remember exactly when.
Do you recall them moving out of the Murrieta house?
Objection relevance?
Counsel,
Well, Your Honor,
you did open the door by asking about the sequence to some extent.
yes, she did ask for the sequence.
To some extent. What is the relevance?
Well, I just wanted to establish how well she really know Mr. Millete, because she's basing her opinions about her knowledge of Mr. Millete.
Counsel, she's indicated she's known him for almost 20 years, and you're asking about events that were about 15 years before the incident. Please move on.
Okay, well, your testimony is you know Mr. Millete fully well. Is that correct?
Not fully well. I mean his that was the only time we lived with them from 2000, as I said, October 2005 to March of 2006. And it's not even 24 hours because he works and I work night shift too. So sometimes we don't even see each other at that time. But overall, between then and 2021, we see them during birthdays and parties and get together with their family.
There was a complaint from May to you regarding Larry, correct?
I'm sorry.
Around 2019, 2020, your sister May had complaints to you regarding her husband Larry. Is that correct?
I don't know exactly. I mean, can you be more specific though?
Did May complain or criticize Larry to you let's do 2019 first.
Well, there's here and there complaints, of course. His well, there's some complaints. Well, I don't know.
How about in the year 2020?
We're going to take our break right
Okay, Hannah.
now. We're going to take a 15-minute recess.
Thank you, Hannah.
Recess. We'll resume at 3:15.
Yeah, she'll turn it on. I'm not sure what that means.
Session. Counsel and the defendant are present, the witnesses on the stand. You may continue with your cross-examination.
Thank you, Yana. Mr. Millete, let's continue. And
Okay.
you have known Mr. Larry Millete for at least about 20 years, correct? So
Did she answer and we charge?
Yes.
That's okay.
during the last 20 years that you've known him, observed him, lived with them sometime, did you ever observe Mr. Millete committing domestic violence against May Millete?
Nothing that I've seen.
To your knowledge, did any of your siblings ever complain about observing Mr. Millete committing domestic violence against your sister?
So when you say,
Counsel calls for hearsay.
Excuse me, Anna?
It calls for a hearsay response.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to propose my own judge.
I asked you earlier if Miss Millete complained to you in 2019 about her husband, and you, I believe, said you don't remember.
it's there's 2019. I don't really recall most of the conversation I have with my sister, but there's always been like on and off during when we do get together, complaints about Larry, or I complain about well, she would actually say like very controlling. She doesn't have anything. She doesn't have freedom with her finances. She couldn't buy anything but to go through Larry. Just little stuff that she complains about.
Anything else?
I can't recall right now.
Okay. Did those complaints, did you discuss with her those complaints? How to fix that or give her advice?
Council, can you lower your microphone? You're
Oh, I'm sorry,
kind
ma'am.
of dropping in and out.
I do have, trying to wear this, Your Honor. Can you hear me better?
I'm not sure which ones would work better, but let's.
Is this better, Your Honor?
Which one are we using? Which one?
Okay.
Oh, no, if you can take it off.
Excuse me, Your Honor, a second. Here?
Not very loud. From the podium, let's see.
Excuse me, Your Honor? Is that
That's
better?
good. Yes, it is.
Okay.
And lower it a little bit.
Is that it?
Okay,
Is that better?
for now. Let's go.
Okay, thank you. So are those complaints that you just recited just now in 2019, were they fixed? Did they get better? Did they get worse?
I don't know. I can't tell. 2020 was worst, so I don't know if it got better or worse. But I mean, it got better, but it looks like it got worse. Their relationship got worse. So I don't think. I mean, if I did advise her, I can't recall exactly, what would be my advice or what would be the topic of our conversation is. Just a sister, a friend would tell somebody if they're, asking for advice. I would let her know, like a regular conversation. But 2020, their relationship, they got worse.
What was your understanding in reference to Mr. Millete's controlling May? How did you get a full knowledge of that, or was just in passing?
She would tell me here and there, finances. She can't even. I remember telling me that every time she uses her credit card, Larry would know how much how much is being charged. I remember her when we went shopping. She used her card, and she paid for my stuff. So I could give her cash back for whatever my part is, so she can have some cash with her. She would, well, in 2020, she said Larry wanted to know where her whereabouts is, where she is. He will be, well, just one example, when we went to Parker, he didn't come with Parker down in Parker, California. We went out with the kids and my sister May for a couple days. We were at the river, and he was calling her almost every hour, or calling the kids. Wanted to know what they're doing. He wanted to know every, I guess, what they're up to or something.
So is that your understanding of Mr. Millete's controlling behavior?
In a way, yes.
Okay. uh, and May would go shopping. How often did that occur in 2020?
Oh, I don't know. I just remembered. I think that would be my last shopping day with her in October 2020. When they do come over to our house, sometimes we go out once in a while, just go to the outlet for shopping, but not often. We try not to.
And that was in 2020.
Correct. Yes.
Do you recall an occasion where you and May went shopping and she purchased $1,000 worth of shoes?
Yes, that's including my shoes. So
Oh.
that's what I was talking about. That it was actually a combination of mine and my daughter's and my daughter and her shoes. So yes.
So can you explain that a little bit? Because I'm a little not clear. So you went out shopping for shoes and May purchased some shoes, but the total amount of $1,000 was really not all spent for May's shoes. Is that
Correct. So she paid for all our purchases. She put it in the card, and whatever my part of the purchase, I paid her. I gave her cash.
do you recall how much cash you gave her during that time?
I believe it's maybe about 300 to 400, because it was kind of pricey shoe. It was we were at I'm sorry, my husband's name is listening.
You are under oath.
It was a few hundreds for each shoes, and we got a few shoes, this couple shoes, and they were probably about I probably gave for like $400 to $500 for a couple shoes.
And charges that May had put on the credit card were paid by her husband. Is that what you're saying?
She used the credit card to purchase for the entire purchase between me and her. Yeah. So I don't know who's that's their credit card that I understand that she uses.
Did May tell you that Larry would pay for the credit cards because she told you that she did not have access to their accounts?
She didn't tell me that he is going to pay, but I know it's from their, it's their credit card. So I'm assuming it's their combined account.
Well, what was your understanding about the control that Larry was putting on her related to their finances?
He will find out everything. I mean, all like her purchases. He knows all whatever my sister would purchase or whatever she put it on in the card. And I was surprised she doesn't have that much. She doesn't have any control of that.
Were you concerned during the time that she was borrowing $10,000 that you would not be repaid back?
I wasn't concerned about at that time. For my siblings and I, we're always supporting each other, even financially. By that time, we did. I was willing to give her that money just to help her out.
Did your husband know about?
Yes. At that time, when I received the text message from her, we were actually in a car going home from Glamis, and I told him that my sister is going to be borrowing the money, and he agreed to it, that we are going to give her whatever she was asking.
Did your sister indicate to you when she was going to pay you back?
No,
And you didn't mind if she didn't pay you back, correct?
I didn't care. That's what we usually do with my brothers and my sisters. Again, we support each other.
Was that the first time she asked to borrow money from you?
Yes.
Do you know how much your sister's salary was in 2020?
I don't know exactly, but she did mention she was able to get 150 at that time, because she was doing a lot of hours too. So she did mention that, but I don't know exactly how much she makes.
But your understanding was this a big amount, around $150,000.
She mentioned she made that amount.
Did she tell you how much her husband was making at that time?
No, but no,
But you knew her husband was making less than her.
correct.
Did you ask her why she did not control, why she gave all the control of the money to her husband?
No, I didn't.
Assumes that's not an evidence.
Overall. And your answer was you didn't ask.
No.
You mentioned about Larry. Well, strike that. Let me go to your testimony regarding your sister. You testified that your sister is very smart, intelligent, and an honor student. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
And that she was the smart one in the family,
Correct.
and she was top of the class.
Yes.
And she is very active she's active physically.
Correct, yes.
And you didn't know whether she was suffering from any illnesses?
No.
She didn't tell you that she was depressed?
No.
So in 2020, when Mr. Millete told you about what's going on with their marital problems, you didn't know your sister was depressed or anxious or...
She doesn't seem that way.
Okay. So what did you understand her state of mind was in 2020 during that time when they were arguing, fighting regarding marital issues?
I'm not sure exactly what's her behavior like, or I don't.
Well, did she tell you, I'd like to leave? I don't want to sleep with him. I would like to go somewhere. I want to go. What was her state of mind? I want to travel.
What we were,
Vague as to time. 2020 is a.
That's the 2020, Your Honor, when all these marital issues, according to her, got worse.
Overall.
she's, but we were going out a lot. We were doing camping. We were going to Glamis. We were going riding. We were in Lake Havasu. We were in Parker. That's the only, and we were doing, birthday celebrations. So that's basically the time I would actually be with her and see her. So during those times, she doesn't exhibit to be, depressed or anything. I mean, sometimes, she would be on her phone or just texting, but, most of the times we were doing some activities when we're with her.
And she was happy doing those activities, correct?
Yeah, she has her moments too. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned an incident where I believe you were camping somewhere, Lake Havasu?
So yes, we went.
Let's just answer the question that she's asking.
And you describe Larry was quiet, or were they fighting all through that trip, camping trip?
Which one are you referring to?
Okay, well, so let me clarify the question. This is 2020, right? You made those trips. I believe you recited each one of the trips. And let me just take a look at the exhibit, Your Honor, just to make it clear.
Counsel, some of these trips were tied to holidays, birthdays, so that might help her remember.
Okay. I do have an exhibit, Your Honor. I believe it's exhibit 3-4.
We have a booklet.
I can help her look for it, Your Honor.
I have it handy.
You can approach.
Can I approach him? Here, I think it might be best if she actually used the actual exhibit versus counsel's copy.
Ms. Martinez,
I can give
show
this
her
to
the
her.
court's exhibit and you can retrieve your copy.
I can give this to her and get my copy. On exhibit 3-4, where you testified that this trip was in May 25, 2020,
That's what.
is that the right date?
I don't exactly recall. I mean, I know we went to, like, it looks like Lake Elsinore. That's, this was tagged in, yeah. So
But you don't recall if that's the correct date when you went to Lake Elsinore in 2020.
that this picture was taken.
Yes.
If this one is taken to and it was on a Facebook page, then or if it's tagged, then yeah, it's taken in that day. For this picture, yeah.
Well, did you have an independent recollection of the date you went there, or were you relying on the date that is stamped on the exhibit?
Well, I have I knew we went on the I believe the 25th or whatever that weekend, on that Memorial Day weekend. So whatever that day falls.
So you went on Memorial Day.
Memorial holiday that weekend. Maybe we stayed there 2 or 3 days, or maybe two nights or 2 days.
Okay. And you had May and the children there.
Correct, yes.
And was that the occasion when you said that Larry and May would went in the car and went and argued or something like that?
No, not this incident. No, not in this not on this date. We were in Lake Havasu. That's when I was referring to, when they would go out. It's the same, we have the same the trailer. We have it there too. So, a lot of times we're in the trailer. but Larry and May, when they do argue, they would take the car or take the car and leave the camp area, the campsite, and I was assuming because they were arguing, and she did kind of mention, she did mention that they were arguing. They would leave the camp area, and then they come back after, an hour or two.
So in 2020, how many times did you travel to Lake Havasu?
If you recall.
If you recall.
2 or 3. I don't know. We did it a few times. Maybe 2.
Do you recall those dates or those 2 times you went?
We did Milani's birthday, so it's the end of June to July for 1 or 2, and I believe we went again in September. That another holiday, whatever the holiday in September is.
Which of those 2 dates did you observe Larry and May go a little bit away from the group and was gone for what, an hour to hour and a half? Which of those 2 did they do that?
The one in the June July time.
During the celebration of Melani's birthday?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And you described that they were arguing and fighting, and then they decided to go a little bit far from the camp. Is that right?
They're not like fighting, but then they would, if they wanted to talk, they just leave the camp.
And you didn't know where they went.
No.
And is it accurate to say they were away for over an hour?
Maybe. I don't, I didn't keep track of the time.
And when they returned to the camp, can you describe their demeanor?
They're, looks like they always kind of work it out, together. They don't show that they're fighting or anything. Guess they don't want to show their family.
So after they left and returned to the camp, there was a change in their behavior and attitude towards each other, like things were okay and peaceful, or were they still growling at each other?
They're not rolling. They're talking. It's not like a big argument or anything. They will be talking. It's not like a big argument kind of thing. They kind of talk it out among them, but they don't show it that they're having some issues or they're having some problems.
There was no indication that their marital status was in danger.
No. Well, to me, I wasn't really paying attention at that time. I didn't believe, they're having some issues, but because in the back of my mind, they've been married for so long, and I knew they will be able to work it out among themselves.
Was that the same sentiment displayed by your siblings during that time?
I can't talk about, how they feel or, how they are. How they felt about it.
The reason I asked is because you testified earlier that you were all communicating often enough to see what's going on with your family. And I believe, to me, it appeared that your family, side was very close, and the communication between all of you were really shared with all the family members. Am I mistaken in thinking that?
Objection, relevance, and culture hearsay.
Sustained relevance, hearsay.
Well, let me ask you a fresh
Speculation.
question, Your Honor. In May of 2020, you didn't know that May left Larry and the kids
No,
and,
I didn't know.
and stayed with your brother, JR, in Genesis?
I just learned about it after.
The entire time that May resided with your brother in Genesis, you did not find that out.
No,
So when did you discover that May left Larry and the kids?
I don't know. I don't recall exactly when. Might be during conversations with some of the siblings, but it's not indicated onto like our messenger or anything like that. That it was. I don't think she once the family knew, the whole entire family knew that she moved out.
Is it true that JR did not tell you that May was residing with him at that time in May and June of 2020?
I don't recall if he did or not.
You don't recall, or do you recall that Genesis mentioned it to you that May left Larry and the kids and was residing with them?
Objection, relevance.
And hearsay, sustained.
In May 25, when you were at Lake Havasu, was Larry there?
Lake El Havasu, Lake Elsinore. You're talking about two different ones, though.
This May 25, 2020, Lake Elsinore, was Larry there?
Now that I think about it, I don't think he was there.
Did you know why he was not there?
I think I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to. Because there's like some occasions that she would say he's not invited. So I'm not sure if that's one of the occasions that she didn't want him to come.
When you say she, are you referring to May?
My sister, yeah.
Okay. And there were occasions when you would go for trips or go to the desert. Your sister would tell you she would not invite Larry.
When we were in Parker for that trip, she didn't want him to come with us.
Did May want to invite Larry for the planned trip to Big Bear on January 8th or January 9th?
I'm assuming the whole family is going because it's Larry's birthday. I don't know if she was planning to invite him or not.
Did Larry tell you whether he was invited or not during that time?
I'm not sure.
How about the trip to Lake Elsinore in September 2020? Was Larry invited to that trip?
I have to look at the pictures. I don't really recall if he was there or not.
And which trip are you referring to again, Council?
Excuse me, Your Honor?
Which trip was this that you
Oh,
just asked
this
about?
is the Big Bear trip that was scheduled for January the 8th.
Oh, you're not sure if Larry was invited to go to a Big Bear trip in January?
No.
When you were speaking to May on or about January 7, 2021, did she cancel the trip to Big Bear?
Objection assumes facts not in evidence.
Counsel, your response.
Your Honor, she testified that they were expecting to go to Big Bear and they did not know that whether they were going or not. Now, I believe the witness testified or mentioned.
I'll overrule the objection.
Okay,
You can rephrase, but
okay.
you can ask, you can inquire as to that area, that issue.
You remember speaking to your sister, May, on January 7, 2021, regarding the trip to Big Bear. Did she say anything to you that's important?
Objection
Regard-
compound.
Did she say anything?
Overrule. Let me make my ruling before you continue.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You can answer.
I don't recall talking to her on January 7
Okay.
about the trip. We have we communicated through the messenger, so I don't recall calling her or talking to her directly.
But you recall speaking to May on January 7, 2021. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you recall today that you spoke to May on January 7, 2021?
No, I don't.
At any point, did she indicate a desire to cancel that trip that was set for the weekend of the 8th?
Not at all.
Did you believe May when she told you that she did not have any control over their finances?
Yes.
Isn't it true that Larry had a habit of calling and calling your sister, your kids, and even you and your family many times? Isn't that what Larry would do? It's just his habit of calling and calling.
Not that I know of. They just started at the 2020. He barely called us before that, 2019 and before. He started calling everybody, calling us in 2020. So it's not really a habit if you're talking about years, but 2020 when he started calling everybody. So it was really unusual for us, for me especially, for him to be calling so a lot of times during that time, more than, well, I shouldn't be more than usual, but we hardly actually call. I'm sorry, take it back. He hardly called us before 2020.
So there was a noticeable frequency of Larry's phone calls to you and the rest of your family in 2020.
Correct.
Was that the entire year of 2020?
I would say so, but mainly for like half the year for me, or maybe in April or May or something like that for me. But he talks more often to either my brother JR or my brother JP
How about your father?
and my dad. Yes,
How about your mother?
not my mom.
Did you have an understanding why Larry would call your brothers and your father
He wanted
frequently in 2020?
Objection hearsay.
State, well, no, she's not asking for the statement, but the this witness may lack the foundation to give that answer, so lack of foundation to state.
Well, let me just rephrase it, John, and clarify it. You were made aware of the fact that Larry was calling your brothers and your father frequently. Did you learn why he was doing that?
He's again, they've been having issues with my sister, so I knew he was asking help from everybody, and he wanted to, I guess, get some advice, from all the siblings and my
So-
dad. Sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to add my siblings and my dad. He was calling, every single one of us.
So not only was Larry seeking advice from you, he was also seeking advice from the other siblings, your other siblings, and your father. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
Do you recall discussing Larry and May's problems regarding their marital issues with your brothers and your father?
I guess the time junction.
Sustained, can you rephrase and
Sure.
and state a specific time period for
Okay.
the discussion?
The calls that were made by Larry to your brothers and your father, when was that? When did it start?
I have no idea. I don't have a specific time for that. I don't really know.
What about specifically to you? Do you remember dates that Larry started calling you frequently to seek for your help and advice?
Not really. I don't. It's through. Yeah, I don't know exactly when in 2020 they started doing that.
When Larry was calling you, did it appear to you that he was desperate?
Yes.
Or what was the tone of his voice when he was calling you?
It's well, to me it was normal. I mean, just trying to get the conversation and trying to get some help and advice, primarily help, I guess. But well, throughout the conversation, sometimes if you tell somebody and what you think and give them advice, and yet they're not following your advice. So that's the whole conversation. It's like you tell him something and yet it's not being done. So that's kind of the conversation that we actually have, with Larry. But it's, to us, it felt like over time in 2020, it felt that he does needed help and he does needed advice from us, and at the same time we thought like he really needed someone to talk to.
Did you tell him to seek professional advice?
No,
Did you tell him to speak to your sister?
of course, yes.
And did that happen?
I no idea.
Why do you say that Larry and May's marital problems progressed and escalated in 2020?
Everyone's awake.
let me rephrase you, Anna.
I was talking about it.
Okay.
Well, they had, you could actually tell they have more, they have arguments. Again, with the phone calls Larry was making. So it was obvious that there's something going on, with the relationship. Whether we're, in a get together, they'll be arguing, but which usually didn't happen before 2020. So then that's when it started. We knew something was wrong, but at the same time, we were hoping they'll be able to work it out.
Did you hear them when they were arguing?
No, well, not exactly. No.
So you don't really know if it progressed or stayed the same or got better. Is that right?
One day they would come like happy couple, and then the other times they would come like they were arguing, and then sometimes they would, when we do get together, then there will be, those like they have an argument again, or sometimes they come back. I mean, when we get together, we could actually see they looks like they kind of work it out. So it's been that way throughout 2020. To me, that's what I observed.
So it was difficult to really determine whether they were nice to each other or loving to each other or fighting or dislike each other. It was difficult, isn't it? Or wasn't it?
Well, it was more obvious, maybe last few months of 2020 that my sister was really over the relationship, especially at the time when we were in the New Year's. She already said she's ready for the divorce, and she didn't hold back when they were arguing. She would just argue with him. With it's more observant or more open that they're having an argument.
When did your sister May bring up to you the issue about divorce? The first time she brought that to you.
The January weekend, the New Year's weekend of 2021.
So she never mentioned divorce to you the whole entire time in 2020.
She did mention she didn't want a divorce. She mentioned about co-parenting. That's what she tried to do when she moved out. That's what she told me.
But not divorce.
Not divorce. She said she doesn't want to do a divorce. She wanted to do co-parenting.
Did you understand what she meant by that, co-parenting?
Yes, so they're going to be taking care of the kids, but they're going to be separated.
Were they supposed to reside in one roof?
That I don't know. She did mention that she wanted to get her own place.
When did she say that to you?
I don't recall exactly when.
Was it the beginning of 2020?
No,
Mid?
maybe September, October. I think we had more conversation when we went shopping.
So she wanted to leave Larry and find a place for herself alone without Larry.
Without Larry, yes.
And what did you think about that?
objection relevant.
Let me rephrase it, Your Honor. Let me just rephrase it.
Sustained.
What was your reaction when she told you that?
Say, what was the question again? I'm so sorry. What was it? What was your question again?
When May revealed to you that she wanted to leave and find her own place, what was your reaction?
Any other relevance objection?
Another relevant.
Sustained.
Did you say to her, I can help you find a place?
No. I you know, at that time, I can't believe that she's actually planning to do that. I was still telling her maybe she could still work it out, their marriage. But I did not give her any, I mean, I didn't tell her, I'll help you out with, with apartment, but like to us, whatever our decisions, like our between our siblings, we always support that. So if at the back of my mind, whatever she wants to do, we'll be supporting it.
Do you mean to say that you're supporting her decision to leave Larry and find another place for herself?
I will support that, yes.
Should I still continue on? I think it's 5 after. So.
We're going till 4:30.
Okay. Did you indicate that to her that you were going to support her decision to leave Larry?
You already asked that question. She answered it.
Yes. Yeah, I think she said yes, Shauna. So at that time, you were not concerned about me at all.
Concerned about living?
Yes.
Not really. No, I wasn't. Again, I was still hoping they'll be able to work out their relationship.
Was that just your hope, or did you tell May that you would support her in her decision?
Objection asked and answered.
That's sustained. Counsel,
Just-
let's move on.
Okay,
I think
now-
we thoroughly
Okay.
explored this.
Sorry, Joanna. You mentioned that May purchased a Jeep in 2020.
Yeah, they got a Jeep for her. Yeah.
And you mentioned that the Jeep belongs to May.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question, counsel.
Excuse me, Anna.
I didn't hear your question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Anna. I'm sorry. I'll try to speak louder. You mentioned earlier that the Jeep belongs to May. In your testimony, you mentioned that the Jeep belongs to May.
That's what our understanding is. That it was purchased for her.
Who paid for the Jeep?
I have no idea.
Your understanding was the Jeep was purchased for her. How? Why? What caused you to believe that?
She said it's her Jeep, so I'm assuming it's hers. So yeah, yeah, that's what she said.
So the Jeep was purchased about the time that you believe May was thinking about divorcing Larry?
I'm not sure about the divorcing, but I know they tried to do that's why it was kind of confusing there about the relationship, because they did purchase the the Jeep, and throughout the year they were having problem, but it was the separate the co-parenting when she was talking about it, but not the divorce when they purchased the Jeep.
Isn't it true that your sister and Larry also purchased a motorcycle at that same time frame?
You mean the dirt bike?
Motorcycle, or what do you call that? What she uses to go into the desert, and
Yes, I'm aware of the. I was aware of the dirt bike. Yes,
do you know what that motorcycle is? What is it called?
it's either Yamaha or Suzuki, a two-wheel. I mean, It's
Did you
off-road.
mean a quad or
Oh.
what?
I don't know, so so
You can be more generic.
okay.
I don't know how
Well,
many vehicles were purchased. I know there's the Jeep and then there's a motorcycle or dirt bike.
I just call it motorcycle in general. So, because I don't really know all the differences in the motorcycle. So, but that's as a fact that they did buy a motorcycle or whatever you call it about the same time that they purchased the Jeep.
I'm not sure if it's the same time, but I know it was purchased for her too. Yes.
And that you're aware, you testified earlier that May was planning a trip to Hawaii, as well as going back to other places. Did you understand that May also wanted to go to the Philippines?
There's always been a plan, to go back to the Philippines, but it's always been a plan. So whether it goes to to protrusion or not, I don't know, but they always talk about going back to the Philippines.
Is that another reason why you felt that you needed to advertise in the Philippines to help locate May?
Not really to locate her in the Philippines. I guess primarily with our searches to just help us out, also financially with our search efforts.
Was there a financial aspect on your, on the activities that you're doing for searching May? Was there a financial aspect to that?
Are you talking about our GoFundMe for that?
Yes.
Yes, we did. We did. Well, not me personally, but I can't even remember who started the GoFundMe. But at the beginning, we put it out there just to help us, the family, for our search efforts, also for the hotels, because at the beginning we were going back and forth from we live in Riverside, and my sisters and my brothers live in LA area, so we want to make sure our accommodations is also we can have help from that, and then we started more into the searches, so then the flyers and different equipments that we were using for the searches was from that with GoFundMe.
What was the reason that you chose the Philippines besides finances?
I don't recall choosing the Philippines, though. I don't know where that coming from.
You posted some, posters, and
That's Hawaii.
oh, you didn't do that in the Philippines then?
It's Hawaii.
So in the Philippines, it was mainly asking for monetary donations.
No, because you were asking about posting it in the Philippines, I just recall having an interview with ABS, with with their national television, and so and that way, they were covering our search effort and our events also. We were doing the national news, but I did not post anything from the Philippines. But again, with our search efforts, we're trying to do it also, worldwide, and um, that's how it's been since the beginning.
Do you still have relatives in the Philippines?
We have a distant cousins, yes.
Isn't it true that May does have a close friend in the Philippines by the name of Kim?
I hardly remember her, but I believe she's a grade school friend. It's her friend since grade school, but I hardly remember her.
But you don't know her as a close friend to May.
She's a friend to Maya, but I don't know how close they are.
And when you advertise in Hawaii, did you believe that May could be in Hawaii?
Not at all.
So when you found out that May was missing on or about January 7 or January 8, 2021, what was the first thing that came to your mind where she could be?
I have no idea. I mean, to be honest, I don't know where she could be.
So at that time, you didn't think that Larry had anything to do with her disappearance.
Council, it's Vegas time.
Oh, okay. I'll repeat it, Your Honor. January 7, 2021, you had a communication with your sister. Is that correct or no?
Asked and answered. You asked her about when she was communicating with her up until the 7th.
I just want to clarify because I think she stated earlier yes, and then when I asked her again, she said no. So I just wanted to clarify whether that's, I'm just not clear, Yana.
You want to know when was the last time she had communications with her?
Yes.
Okay, all right. When was the last time you had a telephone conversation with her?
The last text message was January
No,
3.
telephone.
I don't recall.
Okay. When was the last text?
January 3.
January 3rd?
Right, with her directly, but we do have the messenger messenger messages.
So when exactly did you believe that May was missing?
Well, we didn't know until the Saturday, the night. That's when we went to the house that she's been missing. We just put it together that our last conversation with her was January 9th, and the whole day on January 10th, my brother JP couldn't get hold of them. So that's when my brother JR went to check on the house. And January 9th is that we confirmed that she's been missing.
So when you call the Chula Vista Police Department on January the 9th, 2021, when you called them, did you tell them that my sister May Millete is missing?
Yes,
Okay, so you consider that to be the date that you believe your sister is missing.
Objection vague.
You understand? Do you understand the question? Or
Yes.
do you want to rephrase?
well, that will be the day that we know, she's gone, that she's been missing. Yes.
I'm asking you personally, not they, just you personally, because you were the one who called the Chula Vista Police Department
Mm-hmm.
and you told them, my sister May Millete is missing. So that's the day you believe she was missing.
Correct.
Okay. When you then, in your mind, believe that day, what was the first thing that came to your mind where she would be?
I have no idea.
At that time, did you have any thoughts that Larry may have done something to her?
Yes. Yes.
What caused you to have thoughts about Larry doing something to May?
That's the filing of the divorce, all the arguments, all the fighting that led to that day, the 2020. So
Did you tell the Chula Vista Police Department that?
Objection vague is to time.
Sustained.
At the time you called the Chula Vista Police Department, who did you speak to?
I have no idea.
You spoke to a detective?
I believe it was a dispatcher.
What exactly did you tell the dispatcher?
I have 39-year-old sister. We haven't had any communication or contact with her. We didn't know where her whereabouts. That we believe that she's been missing. That's probably what I recall. Telling them.
Isn't it true that they asked you if you believe she was a victim of some sort of a abduction?
I don't recall.
You also recall that they asked you if you believe she left voluntarily?
I don't remember.
And do you remember telling them that it could be either?
No, I don't remember.
Is it your testimony today that you did not know in 2020 that your sister May Millete was having an affair with her coworker?
You can rephrase.
Okay.
She said she heard that, but she didn't believe it. So, is your question, had she been made aware of the allegation, or was she aware it wasn't fact, truth?
Well, let me ask her first, Your Honor, why she didn't believe it. she denied what her reaction was. Because she can't remember when she heard it. Okay, so. Let us first determine when you first heard about your sister or the allegation that your sister was having an affair with a coworker.
I don't really recall exactly when. It's either I heard it from my brothers and my sisters, or from from my brother, or I heard it directly from Larry. So I don't really recall exactly when I heard, but to be honest, I was brushing it off. I didn't believe that she'd be having an affair.
So when did you confirm that she was having an affair with her coworker?
I never confirmed it.
You were not aware of the investigation that occurred in her workplace?
Objection relevance, you're saying?
Sustained.
Okay, so today your testimony is you don't really know for sure whether your sister May Millete was having an affair with a coworker.
Objection relevance.
I just want to clarify her testimony on.
Sidebar, actually, yes, sidebar reported
Hey ladies, we are giving out free Dove samples. Just fill out our quick 2-minute survey and we'll ship it right to your door.
Home natural gas stove in the kitchen, and a new study links childhood asthma to the appliance. So there was a lot of confusion on social media when headlines claimed the federal government is considering banning gas stoves in response to the study. So let's verify. Is there a national ban on gas stoves in the US? Our sources are the Consumer Product Safety Commission and the White House. The CPSC is an independent government agency that regulates the manufacturing and sale of some consumer goods, like stoves, in the US. The gas stove controversy started earlier this month when a CPSC commissioner said in an interview that the agency is considering a gas stove ban. Soon after, the head of the CPSC issued a statement saying, "I am not looking to ban gas stoves." And the commissioner who made the initial comment tweeted a clarification that the CPSC is not coming for anyone's gas stove. So, no, there is no national ban on gas stoves in the US, and the White House says it has no plans to do so.
The president does support banning gas stoves, and the Consumer Product Safety Commission, which is independent, is not banning gas stoves.
However, some cities like New York and San Francisco have banned new natural gas hookups for things like stoves in most future construction projects, but people who currently have gas stoves do not have to replace them. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
A performance that truly matters for each and every one of us.
When President Biden signed the Inflation Reduction into law last August, it included billions in new funding for the IRS. The Treasury Department estimated the money would be enough for the IRS to hire roughly 87,000 people over the next decade, many of whom would replace retiring workers. Since then, revoking the funds has become a major goal of Republican lawmakers, a goal one